Police officers have their guns, their tasers, batons, riot gears, and dogs to protect them, but the tools civilians have might be much more powerful than all of those. Now, in the wake of a case where a photojournalist was arrested for taping police, the U.S. Justice Department reaffirmed its ruling that says he was within his First, Fourth, and 14th Amendment rights to film the incident. Photojournalist Manny Garcia was arrested in June of 2011 after filming police officers arresting two men in Montgomery County, Maryland. His memory chip was taken away and he was charged with disorderly conduct. Those charges were eventually dropped, and Mr. Garcia consequently sued the city for his arrest. But this case goes beyond one man's fight for reparation. So here to explain the bigger implications of this case and what it means for you and I, Mr. Garcia's lawyer, Robert Korn Revere, who is a partner with Davis Wright Treman LLP, and he joins me now.
Thank you for having me.
So can you begin by breaking this case down for us? What's the controversy with it?
Well, the controversy is that you have a journalist filming police activity on a public street and gets arrested for it. And as you say, we do trust our police officers to protect us from danger, and in the vast majority of cases they do. But in certain instances, they either don't know or are confused about the state of the law, and this, unfortunately, is one of them, where they get upset that they're being filmed either by a journalist or by a private citizen, and then take action to stop that filming, either by simply stopping the incident from happening or by arresting that person, which is what happened in this case.
And I understand that he was 30 feet away from the police officers, and then when they shined a spotlight on him, he moved back to 100 feet. So it's not a question of whether or not he was interfering, and this was happening on a public street. Am I correct?
Well, that's right. And you know, this was an experienced photojournalist, someone who's operated in war zones and he has been a credentialed White House photographer for 20 years. So he knows how to deal with situations of authority and not to get in the way. And that's exactly what happened in this case. He stayed a respectful distance. He didn't interfere with the police activity. When the spotlight was shined on him, he moved even further away. And when he was initially challenged by the police, he simply identified himself as a member of the press, opened his hands to show that he had nothing threatening other than a camera. And at that point, he was arrested.
Now, one of the important things to note about this case is that Mr. Garcia was fighting it both as a journalist as well as a citizen. I want to read a quick quote from your brief that you guys filed. It says, "The First Amendment right to record police officers performing public duties extends to both the public and members of the media, and the court should not make the distinction between the public's and the media's right to record here." That was actually from the Justice Department. So he's not only fighting, and he's not only fighting here as a journalist, he's saying that as a citizen, he should have been allowed to do this, right? So should there be a distinction, really, when it comes to recording police officers between journalists and citizens?
No, not at all. I mean, the First Amendment belongs to all of us. It protects private citizens and it protects members of the press from government action that restricts their freedom to speak or to gather information that allows them to talk about possible public misuse of power. And that's exactly what was happening here. And courts around the country increasingly are dealing with situations like this. There was another case up in Boston involving a private citizen who filmed a police arrest, was ultimately arrested himself for it on similar circumstances as here. And the court went out of its way to say that private citizens are protected every bit as much as journalists, and that the First Amendment protects these kinds of activities.
And speaking about the fact that there are so many of these cases popping up, we actually do have a clip that highlights a few of them. If we could go ahead and play that.
Get off the motorcycle. Get off the motorcycle. State police. Go.
I want to know who you are, and I want to know why you're taking pictures of the subway system.
I was going. Relax.
Take care.
Relax, please. You don't have to put your hands. You don't have to put your hands on me. I'm just doing my job. I have DCPD press passes.
So obviously those are each individual circumstances, and there's a lot of parts of this. But the U.S. Justice Department, with your case in particular, reaffirmed that citizens have the right to film police officers. So why does this keep coming up time and again?
I think part of it is, as in your last story, technology advancing faster than the law. You have now everyone carrying out their own personal recording device. People with smartphones can record either still pictures or video and audio, and as a result you have images like the ones we just saw showing up on YouTube.